Margaret Thatcher was famous quote of saying, "The problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money." Mr. McHenry, are we starting to run out of other people's money?
Yes. Yes.
Thank the gentleman. I thank the witnesses for their time. Mr. McHenry, we recite the Pledge of Allegiance on the floor of the House. We have a prayer, right, to open the proceedings. Now, some say those things are not necessary or useful. I find it useful that we stand as a body and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Here, we're just trying to make a statement about what our values are, what we stand for. Believe you and I are about the same age. You might be a little younger by a few years, if I remember right. And so, but you, like me, are a child of the 80s. Margaret Thatcher, Ronald Reagan spoke with force, clarity, moral clarity about what this country stands for and about standing up against the evils of not just totalitarian and authoritarian regimes, but against this notion that you can have some soft form of socialism that doesn't slide down the hill and slide off the cliff into the very problems that we're talking about. Margaret Thatcher was famous quote of saying, "The problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money." Mr. McHenry, are we starting to run out of other people's money?
Yes. Yes. And I think the best thing that has come out of our House Republican agenda is a focus on the fiscal house in a more concerted way, in a way that we have not done for quite a while in this Congress. At a time where the main purchasers of our federal debt is our central bank. That shows that there's a problem. When we have a discussion that in the treasuries market, there is a lack of liquidity. Well, the treasuries market is globally the biggest market of assets in the world. And what we're doing is flooding the world with such a level of debt that it's becoming difficult for it to be soaked up. We see the problem of inflation. When we're printing more money and the federal government's spending more money at the same time as the economy is collapsing. And then the work to spend more money in the time where the economy is fully reopened has caused a massive amount of inflation like we've not seen in 40 years. Those things put the imperative upon us to get our fiscal house in order so that the people can have prosperity. And that connection between our fiscal house, what we do here in Washington, to tax and spend, and the impact that has on real people's lives. We've got to connect that back and make sure that it's there. And so I think we're at an inflection point where the fiscal house will be the dominant conversation for the next 20 years, if we can get it right. And if we don't get it right, we're going to be talking about this for much longer and make ourselves much more in the pack against our economic competitors globally. So I think all that stuff is fundamental to our economic system and a really important discussion.
And I appreciate that. And it is why I, like my friend from Kentucky said, support the resolution. I'm somewhat curious as to why it's being so just easily dismissed as a important statement of principle for this body. It's something to start off this Congress in full recognition. I think, with respect to this debate about capitalism, including it or not, that'd be fine. You can include it, but it's pretty straightforward concept to say we're denouncing socialism in all its forms.